Coming up next, sexual harassment and assault survivors speak out in the wake of the allegations against Judge Kavanaugh. We have the update on construction in the Edinburgh campus as it nears completion. Plus, a student creates an organization to bring awareness to a condition that hits close to home. The men's basketball team prepares to hit the court for the upcoming season. And the RGV community celebrates Hesta Community Day 2018. We have all this and more. UTRGV-TV starts now. Thank you for joining me on this edition of UTRGV-TV News. I'm Neil Alcantar. In the wake of the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh and the #MeToo movement, harassment and sexual assault victims are speaking out. Our chief reporter Liana Moreno spoke to the director of the Office for Victim Advocacy and Sexual Prevention to bring you more.
At the end of June, Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy announced his retirement. 2 weeks later, President Trump made his decision backing Brett Kavanaugh as the next Supreme Court Justice. Soon after, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford publicly came forward with details of an alleged incident of sexual assault against Kavanaugh. Eventually, Dr. Ford and Kavanaugh both stood before the Senate Judiciary Committee, detailing their experiences under oath.
Although the Senate has made their decision by voting Kavanaugh in, there's been an increase of individuals voicing their opinion on the subject in different ways.
The program coordinator at the Office for Victim Advocacy and Violence Prevention says that there are different ways to get involved. Voting, protesting, and educating peers are all ways to make an impact.
It's important for us to try to create a culture where we're not victim blaming, where we're not blaming the individual for coming forward, but making sure that we are giving them resources and letting them know that we're here, we believe you. We have our LGBTQ community who is subject to victimization. We have men who can also be subject to victimization. Not everybody speaks out. Not everybody will report what they have gone through.
The Office for Victim Advocacy and Violence Prevention is the only confidential center at UTRGV for students, faculty, and staff. I spoke to the director of OVAP, Dr. Cynthia Jones, about speaking out.
Speaking out is in public, jumping up and down and saying this happened to me. That can be super empowering for some people, but it's not for everybody. Speaking out against sexual assault that's happened to you isn't for everybody, but we can all speak out that we should act together to assist people who have been assaulted, to try and call out problematic behavior when we see it, that's gendered, that's racist, that's sexist, that demeans an individual. We can all do that.
The Office for Victim Advocacy and Violence Prevention will be holding their 3rd annual Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation Conference, October 24th through the 26th at the Student Union in Brownsville. To register, email ovavp@utrgv.edu. Reporting from Edinburgh for UTRGV-TV, I'm Ileana Moreno.
In other news, a student starts a campus organization to bring awareness to a condition that hits close to home, mental illness. Here's our reporter Juliana Quiroz with the story.
My mom's a sweet, nice person.
Mechanical engineering major Julian Lopez gazes down deep in thought as he describes his 50-year-old mother who has battled with a mental illness for as long as he can remember.
Every day I have to go home and see my mom, and the way she behaves and her illness, it affects me every day.
Lopez says because it hits close to home, he feels the need to help other students facing similar mental problems like his own, which is why he founded a new student organization called Mental Health Matters.
I think it is vital for us to help each other understand and just talk about mental health in general, because it's important.
Lopez says he reached out to us because he wanted to share his story and spread the word since his organization is still in its infancy.
We will focus on helping students that struggle with mental issues such as depression or just don't have a good day.
Even though he has 62 members on the closed group he created on Facebook back in June, Lopez says they haven't been very active, but he plans to team up with other organizations and departments such as the Counseling Center to keep the mental health dialogue in action.
We're all about destigmatizing mental health and saying that everybody needs help. Whatever we can do to help out, if maybe that's one of our therapists going and just talking about the services and offering to those students, or just collaborating on presentations.
Lopez says that with the organization he founded and the future endeavors in his engineering career, he plans to continue to help his mother overcome her mental illness. In Edinburgh, for UTRGV-TV, I'm Juliana Quiroz.
Texas funding for family planning programs is undergoing changes. Our reporter Rocio Villalobos met with local directors and advocates involved to find out how women are being affected.
3 Planned Parenthood health centers in the Rio Grande Valley have closed their doors since 2011 due to state defunding. Here in Harlingen is one of the remaining 2 locations. Financially, Texas supports the Heidi Group, an evangelical nonprofit based in Round Rock led by anti-abortion advocate Carol Everett. The Heidi Group coordinates services with 32 medical providers in Texas. 6 of those facilities exist in Hidalgo County.
Texas law don't affect Planned Parenthood, they affect the community, but Planned Parenthood still believes that any person needs to have services, especially reproductive health.
Despite its defunding in Texas, the clinics are still going strong. 6 times a year, the Planned Parenthood clinics of Harlingen and Brownsville host Clinica Festival to educate the community on important health services.
The community voices out that they rely on us on reproductive health because they see us as experts.
In 2016, the Heidi Group was awarded a $7 million contract by the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. After failing to serve its target figure of 17,000 patients by more than half, the state reduced the funding by $4.1 million. One of the local providers it supports is the Rio Grande Regional Clinic of McAllen. Representatives from the clinic said the funding cuts have not affected their facility.
With the assistance of the Healthy Texas Woman and the Heidi Group, the Women's Clinic of Rio Grande Regional Hospital can provide a broad range of outpatient services to underserved populations. The free or low-cost services help reduce unintended pregnancies, allows people to determine the number and spacing of their children, and improves birth outcomes and overall health.
According to a report on its website, Planned Parenthood has served over 80,000 health education clients in Texas.
If we all work as a collective, we're able to make meaningful change for our communities and communities all across the state of Texas and all across the nation. We who live in a community that is disenfranchised can make progressive change.
Advocates for access to health services urge the importance of voting to ensure one's voice is heard. Ann Harlingen for UTRGV-TV, I'm Rocio Villalobos.
Hispanic Engineering, Science, and Technology Week, also known as HESTEC, promotes careers to the RGV community. Our reporters Ileana Luna and Marisol Villarreal covered Community Day.
Thank you, Neva. What is best known to help promote engineering, science, and technology, the university welcomes its 17th year of HESTEC. UTRGV's annual celebration, HESTEC, wrapped up its week worth of experiments and exhibitions with Community Day. In its 17th year, the Office of Community Relations tells us how the preparation for the fun-filled event all started.
The president we had at the time of UT Pan American was Dr. Miguel Nevares. These men, along with Congressman, retired now, Ruben Hinojosa, got together and said, we need to work to do something to promote education in the valley. STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math was kind of becoming that buzz in the nation. And then more so because a lot of the Hispanic or Latino community or diverse populations weren't thinking about those careers.
HESTEC coordinator Ms. Reyes explains how HESTEC chooses its themes and new additions to this year's event.
So what we wanted to try and do this year was we created the HESTEC STEM and Me Expo and Me for Medicine again, and basically in our field house we have a lot of exhibitors.
HESTEC's efforts to influence the community have paid off. The Rodriguez family
That it shoots up in the sky, right?
Yeah.
Experienced HESTEC for the first time.
I think it's really good for kids because they get to experience different aspects of science. Different majors that could possibly come. It's not just strict biology or physics. It's working with bugs or working with aerodynamics or things like that.
For students of our own, Mario Salazar, president of the Clinical Laboratory Science Club, tells us his remembrance of HESTEC when he was younger.
When I was younger, I came a few times with school and with my family, and so it's great to be back and be part of it this time.
HESTEC, a tradition that lives on at the university to ensure growth in the STEM field that combines both the university and the community together. Reporting for UTRGV-TV, I'm Marisol Villarreal, and I'm Ileana Luna.
Basketball season is just around the corner. Our reporter Kenya Gomez has more on how the men's basketball team prepares to hit the court for the upcoming season.
After a summer filled with 10 full team practices and 2 exhibition games, it's official. The UTRGV men's basketball team is back.
The The team's top returning scorer, number 3, Terry Wynn, is back this year, injury-free and ready for the season.
Last year was hurt for most of the year, so y'all didn't really get to see the real Terry. This year he's gotten himself into great shape, his knee is really good, and now you're starting to see what we wanted to show you last year.
Coach Hill is also excited about a new addition to the team. Graduate transfer Tyson Smith, who played in the Final Four team last season.
He gives us something we didn't have last year. He can really shoot the ball. He's very experienced.
For junior guard Jordan Jackson, staying healthy and injury-free this season is his main priority. Coach Hill considers him to be the best player in the conference.
Great, being with this new group of guys right here around me and, being able to be healthy and stay on the court this year is one of my main goals this year. I want to be healthy so I can contribute to a great season.
The Vaqueros will be playing an exciting game this season against former UTPA head coach Lon Kruger and his Oklahoma Sooners team on November 9th.
It's good for the whole valley to come out and see such a great Big 12 team, a former Final Four team to come down here and play. We got to get everybody out to support it.
The first game of the season will take place on November 6th against Texas A&M Commerce at the UTRGV Fieldhouse. Reporting for UTRGV-TV, Kenya Gomez.
UTRGV's Edinburgh construction site located next to the library is nearing its completion date. Renata Cruz has a story.
The UTRGV Edinburgh campus has good news for engineering students. A new engineering building is nearing its completion date. The new building, located between the library and the student union, is set to be completed this December with an area of approximately 54,000 square feet.
College of Engineering has 4 teaching labs in that space, and they also have 2 other discipline-specific labs for a heat transfer and instruments and measurements lab.
Apart from engineering, the building will also open doors to College of Business students and a new clinical psychology program. Here are some of the features the interdisciplinary engineering and academic building has to offer. The new building's first floor will contain 2 study rooms for students, 4 engineering teaching labs, and 4 general classrooms. The second floor will contain 2 study rooms, 2 engineering teaching labs, 4 general classrooms with 60 seats, 1 doctoral seminar room for clinical psychology majors, and 2 computer labs for College of Business students. The third floor will contain faculty and staff offices. A new addition to the engineering department is widely beneficial for engineering students, says Senior Mari de la Cruz.
It is very crowded, there's a lot of people in the halls. We do have a limited amount of classrooms. Sometimes we have to go to other buildings like the education building, sometimes even all the way to the very back of the university to take classes because there's not enough classrooms. We only have limited amount of labs.
Reporting from Edinburgh for UTRGV-TV, I am Renata Cruz.
Dr. Christopher Carmona gives a presentation on his latest novel at the Center for Mexican American Studies. Our reporter Samantha Aleman has the details.
The commission report actually vindicates almost every story that I was told, almost detail by detail.
On Thursday, Dr. Christopher Carmona gave a presentation about his new novel, El Rinche, the Ghost Ranger of the Rio Grande. This is a Chicano superhero story set in the Rio Grande from 1905 through 1920.
It tells the story of a character who takes on the Rinches or the Texas Rangers.
Dr. Carmona recalls that it took approximately 5 years of pure historical research, since there's a lack of proper documentation regarding these matanzas.
Because a lot of this was unrecorded. Most of the stuff you find written about it is basically calls these deaths, murders, bandits. And so, and most of these people were not bandits. They were regular working people, vaqueros, and ranch owners who were killed by the Texas Rangers during this time.
Attendees like Dr. Ana Maria were eager to know more about the history of the Rio Grande and share the knowledge learned through this presentation.
Our speaker, Dr. Carmona, gives us the clue, the way, the path to go into further research of this topic, which is extremely important.
The book is now available for purchase. It can be found on Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, and at jadepublishing.org. For UTRGV-TV in Edinburgh, I'm Samantha Aleman.
On this edition of Music Craft, our reporter Nathaniel Puente has a story on Be Perfused, an alternative rock band out of Mission.
Hi, Nathaniel Puente here for Music Craft, where we see what the RGV music scene is up to.
We have a great episode lined up for you today, but first, a word from our special guest.
Who?
Well, you heard it there. The band this week is The Profused out of Mission. They're a great band, and let's see the story.
What happens when you put together a group of rock musicians with decades of experience between them? A supercharged group of alternative rock. That's what you get with The Profused, a band out of Mission who mixes a plethora of influences to create a unique sound. The Profused formed when vocalist Andrew Rains and guitarist Ivan Ilesec left their former band to join with Johnny Maldonado on drums and Joe Anzaldúa on bass.
We were in a band before this band together. I was in a band with the bassist before this band, and he was in a band with the drummer before this band. So we've all kind of played with each other at some point.
Soon after forming, the Profused joined on Confused Records, a local record label that has pushed the band to great heights.
They've done nothing but help us promote and publish and get to places that we couldn't get to on our own. They've opened doors and opportunities that a lot of bands don't usually get to see so quickly.
The Profused put out their debut EP, Your Ego Kills, this August, which shows the style this band hopes to play. The release's 6 songs feature an alternative rock and metal sound that are reminiscent of Alice in Chains, Pantera, and other 90s rock outfits. For more info on The Profused, you can check them out on Facebook, subscribe to them on YouTube, follow them on Instagram, and even check them out on Reverb Nation.
So there's our report on the band The Profused. If you are a musical artist you know would like to be featured on MusicCraft, go ahead and give me a call at 867-5309. Reporting for UTRGV-TV, I'm Nathaniel Puente, and there's a fair use image of a pigeon.
That's all we have for you today, but remember, if you have a story you would like for us to know about or know someone who is making an impact on campus or in the community, you can contact us through our social media or email us at utrgvtv@gmail.com. We have community and UTRGV news for you every week. See you next time.